All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, I'd like to welcome you to the So Do You Dig. This is your host of the evening, DJ Just Jay. I'm presenting a story here on my right-hand side for the people that are watching. When you guys come in, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. Here we go. There were two men that were accused of killing a 1-year-old girl. And yes, you guys heard that right. The gun violence has gotten so bad and has been bad for a while now, but they are now like literally taking out children as opposed to, grown people taking out other grown people. I know it's bad all the way around. There's really no excuse for it, but there's definitely no excuse whenever we're supposed to protect our children. Here at the So Do You Dig, we're advocates for children first. My children know that I love them. I'll protect my children with my life, and I would hope that other people would start to see the value in children, because it seems like this thing is not getting better, it's getting worse. Here's the story. Now, there are two men that you guys are going to see on my screen, and I'm going to give you guys their names. One of their names is Brian Palmer, who's age 29. The other being Darren Banks, who's age 27. Okay? Now, these two men are accused of killing a 1-year-old girl named Malaysia Robson, R-O-B-S-O-N. Now, they confessed to shooting her in the Indianapolis home the night she died, according to court records filed Thursday. Now, Darren K. Banks is spelled D-A-R-R-I-N-K, and then Banks is spelled traditionally, age 27. Brian, spelled traditionally, A. Palmer, P-A-L-M-E-R, age 29, admitted to firing a .223 caliber round at the residence. Now, what you guys are going to hear is you're going to hear a lot more detail as opposed to the type of gun that was used and how many bullets were fired. A .223 caliber rounds, and knew it was occupied by several people. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Detective Jeremy Ingram wrote in the preliminary probable cause affidavit filed in Marion Superior Court. Now, this was a drive-by, and it was shortly before 2 a.m. on March 29th, and it stemmed from an ongoing feud that started on social media. Yes, an AR-15, yes. If you guys are not familiar with a .223 or 223, it's an AR round, semi-automatic weapon, or it could have been even a damn automatic. You never know. Okay? Now, it was a drive-by, and this drive-by started over social media. How many times have I done stories on people getting shot, stabbed, killed, and all of this crazy stuff over social media? Right? It's absolutely, it's asinine at this point. It's insane. So it stemmed from an ongoing feud that started on social media, and it led to a fight at an East Side apartment complex. In the court documents, Banks told police that his pregnant sister was injured during the fight. Now, shocking discovery, coroner body in U-Haul was a, I'm sorry. That is not part of the story. Let me see. Neither is this part. Sorry, I added too much information in there. So here we go. Malaysia was asleep on the couch in her home on the 3500 block of North Whitfield Street when the shooting occurred. 12 people, including the toddler's 19-year-old aunt, Anna Fox, who was spelled A-N-A-F-O-X, and a 4-month-old were inside the house when the drive-by happened. Now, Anna Fox, who's the 19-year-old aunt, was injured in the shooting. Hashtag, I want you guys to ask this question. Where are the fathers? Where are the fathers? Where are the fathers? Put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. Malaysia was struck by a single bullet that tore into her lower abdomen and exited her left shoulder. Went into the stomach, exited her left shoulder. I pointed at the wrong one, but exited her left shoulder. Okay? Now, court documents said that the round ripped through her liver, diaphragm, her heart, and her left lung. Investigators recovered 19 spent shell casings, according to the documents. Evidence markers at the scene showed that at least 21 bullets struck the home, and I think it was closer to like 40-something. What's going on to my brother DJ C Smooth? What up, man? Now, let me see. An unknown An unnamed witness told detectives that Banks and Palmer had fired the shots, court documents said. The witness told police that a woman was driving the car, which is going to lead us up to the point of the actual new portion of this story. Because what we're looking for now is there are 2 female suspects, which you guys are going to see on the screen, which is also why I put it in the thumbnail if you guys got a chance to see that. One of the women that the police are looking for is a young woman, Sydney Guyan. I don't know. It's spelled, her first name is S-Y-D-N-E-Y, Sydney. Last name, Guyan, or Guyan, G-Y-I-N-N, age 25. And Dara Banks, which is spelled D-A-R-R-H-A, and then Banks spelled traditionally, who is age 28. And they are wanted for questioning. Because at this point, if they were involved in this, they definitely need to be brought to justice. Because if they drove the car, they brought them there and got them away, then they need to be held just as accountable. The same way that those 4 gentlemen that are caught up in the XXXTentacion case, all 4 of them are being implicated, even though not all of them shot. Okay? So everybody needs to be held accountable. So they are looking for 2 women, and you're going to see those beastly looking things that are going to show up on my screen here in just a moment. Now, let's keep going. Officers were following Banks and Palmer on to... Wait. Let me make sure. Yeah. Witness told police that there was a woman driving the car. The court documents did not identify the driver. So at this point, it is alleged that those 2 women were part of this additionally. Officers were following Banks and Palmer on Tuesday when the 2 men met. Banks got out of his white 1998 Chevrolet Caprice and into Palmer's brown 1998 Caprice. Police stopped Palmer after they said he failed to stop at a stop sign near 26th and Adams Street. Later, officers found 2 AR-15 rifle-style guns in Palmer's car. In separate interviews with detectives, both Mr. Palmer and Mr. Banks stated that they were upset about the fight that occurred earlier involving Mr. Banks' family, during which his pregnant sister was injured, Ingram wrote. Mr. Palmer and Mr. Banks admitted to getting their rifles and being driven to the house on Whitfield, and both admitted to shooting the house, Ingram said. Now, those are the 2 women on the screen that police are still currently looking for. I don't know if they have actually apprehended those chicks, but man, they, oof. I mean, I hate to really bag on their looks, but they are bad looking people. Like, seriously, like they look bigger than the dudes, honestly. Like, they are freaking huge. Now, let's keep going. Legal experts say that the circumstances of the drive-by shooting present a hurdle for prosecutors to clear whether the pair intended to kill anyone. So what they're saying with that is that they need to figure out whether there was intent and whether they actually meant to kill someone or not, which means whether they're going to charge them with a degree of murder, whether they're going to charge them with manslaughter or whatever it is that they're going to charge them with. So that's going to be the determining factor. That's just a legality at this point. Now, during a hearing Thursday, Superior Court Judge Mark Stoner gave prosecutors 72 hours to file official charges against Banks and Palmer. Initial hearings for both men have already been scheduled, and I think that's already happened. So here's the breaking news portion. Police are seeking 2 new persons of interest in the death of 1-year-old Malaysia Robson. Police believe Sydney Gunn and Dara Banks were inside the car at the time of the shooting. They have not been accused of a crime, but are asked to come forward and speak to police. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys are familiar with the Indianapolis area, if y'all know where they are, I'm encouraging you guys to reach out to Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department and send your tips in. It's really easy to Google search it, really easy to contact them, and I'm just encouraging you guys to do the right thing. Why? Because we have a 1-year-old's life that was taken behind adults' stupid crap. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the first video, which is going to introduce you guys to the case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the fair usage statement first, and then we're going to go ahead and start. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. You got, why didn't y'all tell me the chat wasn't moving on the screen? My bad. Sorry about that. I hate touching that because it'll stop it from moving. But Miss June Bennett, I like what you said, and yes, Tommy does say that a lot. And let me get this fair usage off the screen. I wanted y'all to see her face because she is beastly looking. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get you guys the first video.
Afternoon, I'm Lauren Casey. Court documents are out this midday for two men arrested just yesterday for the shooting death of a one-year-old girl that happened 2 weeks ago. RTV6's Elena Martella joins us from the live desk with details on what led up to the gunfire and what the suspects told law enforcement. Elena.
Yeah, Lauren, according to this preliminary probable cause document, 27-year-old Darren Banks and 29-year-old Brian Palmer have confessed to firing several shots into a house on the 3500 block of Whitfield Avenue back on March 29th. Well, that gunfire killed one-year-old Malaysia Robson and injured Malaysia's 19-year-old aunt, Anna Fox. Well, here's what the court documents say. Investigators found 19 casings in front of the house, and witnesses say the shooting was related to a family dispute beginning on social media. A person who knows both families told police that Palmer and Banks were involved in the shooting, and that prompted police to put the men under surveillance. And yesterday, IMPD stopped a car carrying Banks and Palmer after the car failed to stop at a stop sign, and officers later found two AR-15 style rifles in the car. Then, during questioning, police say both Banks and Palmer confessed to that shooting. That confession coming at the same time family members of the suspects insisted to RTV6 reporter Stephanie Wade that the men were innocent.
The whole community is talking about Dorian Banks and Brian Palmer.
Excuse me. I want you guys to understand who's speaking now. This is one of the mothers of the dudes that it confessed to shooting at the house that killed Malaysia Robson. This is one of the moms. Hashtag, where are the fathers? Remember that, all right? Listen to what she has to say.
Insisted to RTV6 reporter Stephanie Wade that the men were innocent.
The whole community is talking about Dorian Banks and Brian Palmer. Those are their names. They're not murderers. They're human beings, and they have names.
We might have to put this on an episode of Just Shenanigans. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys heard that. Where my people at? Where my Soto Nation people at in the chat? Did you guys catch that? She said these men are not murderers. And she said they have names and they are human. The last time I checked, most people that are convicted or accused or admit to killing, murdering someone, or doing anything heinous that is in jail, on death row, or whatever the case is, they have a name and they are human. They have a name. They are human. The next thing that they have is they now have a state identification number because they have murdered somebody and they're in the jail. Just the logic of our sisters, boy, oh boy. I want y'all guys to hear her again, and I'm not going to pause it this time.
RTV6 reporter Stephanie Wade.
And what's up to Summer? Summer, I saw you saying hi. How you doing?
That the men were innocent.
The whole community is talking about Dorian Banks and Brian Palmer. Those are their names. They're not murderers. They're human beings, and they have names. And they did not do this.
But now we got to fight for justice for our brother's life. We got to fight for his life because y'all done pegged him on the news as a murderer.
Okay, guys, I have to be honest with you. I have to be honest with you. This is why Tommy speaks so low about our community that shares our skin hue. That's the best way I can say it without getting flagged. This is why Tommy talks the way that he does. Let's be real for a moment, okay? These two men admitted to shooting up the house that caused a 1-year-old girl to be dead because of something stupid that was said on social media. Said words. How many of you guys remember the saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me? How many of you guys have ever uttered that statement before? But nowadays, what you have going on is you have people shooting up houses, doing drive-bys, killing people, innocent people, making permanent judgments on people's lives and families behind words on social media. Yeah. And I want you guys to remember at the beginning of this video, the two men admitted to shooting up the house. And these women still say what? What say ye, my black sisters?
The whole community is talking about Dorian Banks and Brian Palmer. Those are their names. They're not murderers. They're human beings, and they have names. And they did not do this.
But now we got to fight for justice for our brother's life. We got to fight for his life because y'all done pegged him on the news as a murderer. Innocent. Period.
Well, both suspects, Palmer and Banks, are appearing in court today, but will have a 72-hour hold placed upon them. Formal charges are expected from the prosecutor's office on Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Keep in mind, they've admitted to doing it. I think my IQ drops every time I do a show, man. It's crazy. Now, this is them actually walking in, I think, of their initial arraignment. So this is just a quick video of them walking in.
What happened, sir?
Didn't have anything to say. And then they're going to walk the second gentleman in. What's up, Angel Honeycutt? How you doing? Tell the husband I said hi. That's the second guy.
Do you have any comments, sir?
Did you guys shoot up that house?
Yes, they admitted before court. Yep. Now, I don't know if that's because they were advised by a lawyer or maybe a public defender or anything. I have no idea as far as why would they admit, but so far they've already admitted to doing the actual shooting. Now you have one of the mothers and one of the suspect's sister who's trying to defend them and say that now we got to fight for justice. Where's the justice in this? I'm sorry, guys. I get so worked up. I get so worked up with these stories. Where is the justice when you have an AK-40, or yeah, excuse me, I said AK-47. It's the same. AR-15, whatever. You have an AR-15, two of them, and you are driven to a house over a social media beef and shoot up the house, and two people get hit, one of them being a 1-year-old girl, which ends up causing her to lose her life. Excuse my language, but where the hell is the justice that needs to be served in that, besides putting these dudes under the jail? Can anybody tell me what am I missing? Here's one of the mothers.
Those are two young men that will fix a car for free. My son picked up a young lady and her baby that was walking in the cold for free and took them home. Those are the type of men that you're dealing with. My son and Darian was in this room playing video games at the time. I want the detectives, I want whoever can pull up Microsoft and see where they have logged in. You have deemed these men as murderers. You have put a tag on them as murderers, and they're not murderers. The whole community is talking about Dorian Banks and Brian Palmer. Those are their names. They're not murderers. They're human beings, and they have names. And they did not do this. That is not in their demeanor. That is not how they work. That is not what they do. And I want to have a voice for them. Everyone else has a voice but those two. And I want people to know what type of people they are, and that's not what they do. That is not what they do.
Here we go. Here's the next video.
It's been 1 week since the shooting that shocked the East Side and all of Indianapolis. Now the family and friends of a 1-year-old are saying goodbye as police continue to search for the person who fired those shots. RTV6's Derek Thomas is live outside of the church where that girl's life is being honored. Derek.
Lauren, the funeral is underway. Another victim. This one, a defenseless 1-year-old victim. Malaysia Robson is being laid to rest today at New Beginnings Fellowship Church. The community was once again appalled by this latest act of gun violence. The shooting occurred last Thursday morning. Police believe as many as 40 shots were fired at the home located in the 3300 block of Whitfield. Today, mourners will try to say goodbye to a child who barely had a chance to live at all. When you say this victim is gone too soon, you mean it. She was 1 year old and by all accounts full of life. And now, sadly, she is gone. We'll have the full story on this funeral on the news at 5 and 6 o'clock. Live from the Far East Side, Derek Thomas.
Live from the Far East Side. All right. Let me go ahead and get this next video up here for you guys. Let's see. Uh-oh. Come on. Don't shut down on me. Hold on. All right. Now, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys this. Now, yes, where's the GoFundMe? Run tell that. Great question. Thank you, DJC. DJC Smooth understands. All my DJs out there, shout out to you guys. Y'all understand. Y'all understand. Like, people sometimes will hit you up in the middle of the night and stuff like that. It happens. But I want to tell you guys this. Here's the new developments that we have so far. Okay? Now, there are new developments in the investigation of the deadly shooting of the 1-year-old girl in Indianapolis. Investigators have identified 2 women connected to the case. Now, the suspects identified as Brian Palmer and Darren Banks did not say a word Tuesday while going from their initial court hearing. Marion County deputies escorted them separately to the holding cell before taking them to the courtroom into the city county building, which you guys got a chance to see that video. When you're done, call me. I sure will, Crystal. I got you. I'll call you, sweetheart. In the court documents, they reportedly admitted to the deadly drive-by shooting that led to the charges. Each with a count of murder, each with 1 count of murder for the death of Malaysia Robson, and each face a 1 count of battery with a deadly weapon for wounding the adult, said prosecutor Terry Curry. The document said Palmer and Banks admitted to being the shooters in the backseat of the car outside of North Whitfield's street home on March 29th. A bullet struck Malaysia in the stomach, killing her, which went through her stomach, up through her shoulder, and it hit like her lungs and her heart, and just, man, it messed that little 1-year-old girl up. Like it did, man. Another injured the 19-year-old aunt, which we've already told you guys, her name is Anna Fox. Prosecutors say that the shooting stems from a fight on social media. Mayor Joe Hodgson said arguments that lead to gunfire in our city will not go unchecked. He quotes this: "If anyone in our community has decided to resolve a dispute using a gun, you are going to lose," said Hodgson. I like what he said. Investigators reportedly learned from the 2 suspects that 2 women were with them in the car. Metro Police referred to Dara Banks, Darrha Banks, age 28, and 25-year-old Sydney Sydney Gynn, Gynn, as persons of interest for questioning. If you guys know where they are, these are extremely big women. I'm pretty sure they're close to a food source somewhere. So just make sure if you guys are pulling up to your local Arby's or your local McDonald's or Krispy Kreme or anything like that, keep out on the lookout for these two women. Eyewitness News say since learning, Eyewitness News has since learned, because of her connection to the case, Warren Township Schools has suspended Sydney Guine from her school bus monitor job until further notice. Let me read that again. Since learning about her connection to this case, Sydney Guine has been suspended from Warren Township Schools from her school bus monitor job until further notice. Yeah. School bus monitor job. Police don't have any arrests for the women, according to Chief Brian Roach. If they cooperate and agree to talk to detectives, it would be on a voluntary basis. He said, however, the shootings remain an ongoing investigation. Prosecutors decided not to seek the death penalty in this case, but Curry does not plan to soft pedal on the punishment. It would be an appropriation for consideration for life. It would be appropriation for consideration for life without parole, Curry said. Now, let's go ahead and get you guys this next video.
Services held today for the one-year-old girl who was shot and killed inside her home last Thursday. The funeral held at New Beginnings Fellowship Church at 21st and German Church Road. One-year-old Malaysia Robson was killed last week when as many as 40 bullets riddled her home on Whitfield. During today's service, Reverend James Jackson called the child a sweet angel who is headed to her heavenly home. But City County Councilor Lakeisha Jackson said the child's death should motivate the community to put a stop to senseless gun violence.
It was a wake-up call for us today is my message. Wake-up call to determine where do we go from here. We have work to do. We have to put boots on the ground. It's enough to stop talking, and now it's about action.
Malaysia's body was in a tiny white casket. It was surrounded by flowers and stuffed animals in the church. She was buried in Washington Park Cemetery. Services.
Keep in mind, I think Indianapolis or Indiana is heavy Democratic. Just wanted to throw that out there. I really wanted to throw that out there. Now, I'm going to keep going. I got a few more videos to show you guys before I really give you my final synopsis about this entire thing.
Amanda and Mark, good evening. Let me set the scene. This empty parking lot is where people will meet on Saturday here at 38th and Post behind the McDonald's. The march will begin here, rain or shine. Tonight, a grandmother bears her grief.
She was only 1 year old. She died of a senseless death from a shotgun. The violence needs to stop.
Robin Robson was surrounded by ministers outside of her home.
Just in case if you guys are wondering, this is the grandmother. This is the grandmother of baby Malaysia Robson.
Her granddaughter, 1-year-old Malaysia, killed after a hail of gunfire struck their house on the 3500 block of Whitfield. The shooter has not been arrested. Ma'am, what do you say to that person, ma'am?
Jesus, just turn yourself in.
Metro Police say this all began as a dispute on social media, which spilled over into someone driving to the home and opening fire around 2 in the morning.
Guys, seriously. What could possibly be said on social media? I think they said it was like 42 rounds were shot at this house. Thank you, Latias Tall. I appreciate it. 42 rounds were shot at this house. What could possibly have been that fucking important on social media to make someone go shoot up a house with people in it? Whether there were words, whether there was a dispute, what could possibly go on social media that would deem someone need to go shoot up a house with real guns and real bullets. Real human beings' lives are at risk. Over words. Matter of fact, you know what's so funny, Run Tell That? It's really not even over words. It's over what somebody typed. Keyboard shit. Somebody typed it. Somebody's typing something. I've watched Tommy get harassed just over years of being harassed with videos and death threats and all kind of crazy stuff. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Especially since we're talking about this very idiotic place known as Indianapolis. Sorry, guys, but I'm going to throw that out there until y'all get y'all shit together. I'm going to throw that out there and I'm going to say that. All right? In this very, very hideous place, from what I understand, which has very low property value, has a lot of gangs and a lot of drugs, it sounds like a terrible place to try to raise children. Don't get mad. Don't thumbs down the video. Don't get in my comment section and try to disparage me. Use your big boy words. Don't disparage me over my words. Don't threaten my life over words. All I want you to do is communicate. You use your grown folk words and tell me, what did I say was wrong? What did I say that was inaccurate? Or did I just say something that hurt your feelings? People in the chat will tell you that are either from there or familiar with that place. I've actually watched people do videos about the actual living conditions of those places. And I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't raise a litter of stray dogs in some of these areas. And I'm from the hood. Ask my people in Oklahoma City in the chat that know me personally, where I'm from and where we come from. It's not like those places are the most reputable places, the nicest places, the cleanest places, the safest places. And these places like Indianapolis and some of these other areas, somebody said Benton Harbor, somebody else said Gary. They make some places in Oklahoma City look like a freaking paradise. That's how bad it is. Somebody said South Bend is bad. At the end of the day, it is still the people's responsibility in the community to bring up their community and make it into something good. You don't have to be the richest. When they rank from poorest to richest, from worst schools to best schools, you can still have it to where your bottom schools are still pretty damn good. You don't have to have it to where they are just crap and falling apart and people aren't learning. We have to take responsibility for that. And I'll tell you guys, as a parent and to all the other parents out there, if your schools are that bad, get your children enrolled in homeschool. Homeschool them yourself. Maybe the teachers there can't do it. Maybe they don't get paid enough. Maybe they're closing down the schools. Whatever it is, but you need to raise up your community. When you pro-black people hit me up in my comment section and y'all talking about uplifting and I need to not bash and all of this stuff, and you use these words and these phrases and these colloquialisms that mean nothing, then I turn around and ask you, what did I say that was factually incorrect? And what are you doing about it? I ask for you guys. You don't have to make a response to me. You don't have to comment in my comment section and say anything to disparage me personally. What you need to do is disparage the thugs, the criminals, the gangsters, the mobsters, the whatever they are, the hustlers, whatever you want to call them. The people that out here getting it how they live. The people out here getting to the money. illegally. The people that are out here harming your community, harming your children, harming your family and your friends. The same type of gall that you guys approach me with, and believe it or not, I've actually had people that have hit me up with death threats, believe it or not, on my Instagram. It ain't the first time, and I don't expect it to be the last time, but that's also why I believe in my Second Amendment rights. Shout out to Texas. Because guess what? If I'm going out, I'm not going out on my knees. Because to be honest, I've seen enough of life. I'm not that worried about having to defend myself or my children. I'm really not. I don't believe that people should have to live in fear. I don't believe that people should have to live in squalor. I don't believe that people should have to live and continue to keep tearing down and pulling down other people just because their situations aren't up to par. Right? Some of you guys that know me understand what I'm saying. And until we fix this one thing, you guys know what the common theme is of what we talk about here at the So Do You Dig? The common theme. Hashtag, where are the fathers? Where are the fathers? The last story that I did, shout out to you guys that supported that video, where there was a father, there was a daughter that wasn't raped and abused, beaten, or possibly killed because there was a father there. The very last story I did right before this one. When there are fathers involved, there's usually a hell of a lot more protection, and there's usually a hell of a lot more truth and logic in those situations. This is what Tommy has brought to the forefront. This is what Soto Nation represents. The reason why we make a specific focus on advocating for children first on the So Do You Dig, the reason for that is because the children are the future, and guess what? I'm against anybody and everybody that thinks it's okay to tear down, abuse, misuse, and take children and use them as pawns in this game for your personal and selfish benefits. I will say what I need to say about those people, and I will do what it takes to make sure that children aren't having to go through any of that stuff. Call me a snitch. Call me sticking my nose in business that don't concern me. Call me a deadbeat. Call me whatever you want to call me. But I have a straight A student. I will protect my daughter with my life. I will make sure that she is not one of these people that turns out to be somebody that goes to pick up some damn thugs to go shoot up a house over something that was typed on social media. They didn't even say it. They typed it. Jesus Christ. 21 shots. 42 shots. Does it even matter? One shot. I'm sorry for going off, but what I'm saying is necessary because I am tired of people thinking that what we need to do is we need to uplift people and protect people just because they share our same skin hue. That's bullshit. Let's keep going.
That led to the death of the 1-year-old and injured her 19-year-old aunt, Anna Fox.
Raphael, it was a 1-year-old child. If this does not galvanize us as a city, what will?
Greg Wilson came to the scene with a heavy heart. His son, Greg Jr., killed in 2015. His murder remains unsolved. But any time there's a fatal shooting, Greg says he feels the loss.
When that parent's crying, I feel it. I feel the pain.
You've been there.
I'm still there.
You're still there.
You don't go away because these crimes, these murders are not solved because people are not talking. They say snitching. I think that's the stupidest word that I ever heard of. When someone's done some hideous crime, like take a life, It's telling and what's right. It's doing what's right.
And
you heard what the father said. Let me back it up. I want y'all to hear what this father said. He's not the father in this situation, but he actually had his son suffer from some violence, I assume. But I want y'all to hear what the father... What's up, Ty Sands? Listen to what the father had to say. Listen one more time, please.
But anytime there's a fatal shooting, Greg says he feels the loss.
When that parent's crying, I feel it. I feel the pain.
You've been there.
I'm still there.
You're still there.
You don't go away because these crimes, these murders are not solved because people are not talking. They say snitching. I think that's the stupidest word that I ever heard of. When someone's done some hideous crime, like take a life, it's telling and what's right. It's doing what's right.
And for a grandmother, in the depths of grief, her pain comes with this personal plea.
With anybody who have kids, you go home every night and you love your kids like you ain't never loved your kids before. And you don't want to end up like me.
An emotional moment for that grandmother. We're back live here in the city's northeast side. Amanda and Mark, police tell me that they believe they know the identity of the shooter.
And so that part we already know. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the little rest of this video, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. What's going on, Madman, and the rest of you guys? Sorry, man. I'm not ignoring you guys. I see what you're saying in the chat. But if you need me specifically to answer something in particular, just tag my name, and I'll see that scroll up. Hi, Marie Lovely. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
I'm Erica Fly. We begin tonight with that murder. 20 days after a bullet struck and killed one-year-old Malaysia Robson, the two men accused of the crime are facing formal charges. There was heightened security inside and outside of the courtroom today. As RTV6's Derek Thomas reports, the investigation is not over.
Are you sorry about what happened? 27-year-old Darren Banks had no comment. Neither did his co-defendant, 29-year-old Brian Palmer. Both face charges for the murder of one-year-old Malaysia Robson. According to court documents, they fired at least 21 times into a house located in the 3500 block of Whitfield with AR-15 type rifles. Prosecutor Curry was deeply concerned that both defendants were armed with AR-15 type weapons, and that is not against the law in Indiana.
And to me, it raises the question is when are we going to have a serious conversation in the state and nationwide about sensible gun regulation?
Okay, wait. I am very, very upset. Let me say this real quick. 170 people watching. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. You want to hear this part. If you hear nothing else that I said, listen to this part. This is why I am no longer Democrat. This is exactly why. What they are doing is they are using this to say that we need to take the guns away from law-abiding citizens. Guess what? These two fools did not own those guns legally, nor did they have law-abiding citizen intentions of having those guns. I can guarantee you they don't own a license to carry open or concealed, did not get training for those weapons legally either. These are the non-law-abiding citizens. These are the thugs. These are the criminals that you're trying to use as an example to say, look at what they are doing with guns. They have them illegally. Stop punishing law-abiding citizens for what non-law-abiding citizens are doing. Stop punishing us for stuff that we didn't do. I'm gonna let you hear what this damn liberal dude in their liberal mindset is to use this case to turn around and try to take guns away from us. They're continuing to keep doing this. That's why we need to keep fighting for our rights, our Second Amendment rights.
Against the law in Indiana.
And to me, it raises the question is when are we going to have a serious conversation in the state and nationwide about sensible gun regulation for the ownership and possession of these sort of weapons?
The investigation.
What they're saying, this is what y'all got to pay attention to. This is what y'all got to pay attention to. They're talking about regulating AR-15s. People get their guns stolen all the time. People buy weapons underground all the time. So if you're talking about regulating illegal guns and weapons and drugs and whatever else it is that you want to throw under there, then what you are now saying is that for the people that did it the right way, now they have to suffer for somebody that you won't allow us to. It's not like you allow us to go out and go confront these people. It's not like the law allows you to go confront criminals. It's not like if you know somebody has a gun illegally, you can't just walk up to them and take your legal gun and your legal status and go put them out of their misery. You can't do that. So since you can't, why do we have to turn around and be victims to the stupid stuff that criminals are doing? I want you guys to put a pin in that. We're going to definitely come back to that.
Is not over. Police distributed photographs of 28-year-old Dara Banks and 25-year-old Sydney Gwynn. They say they want to talk to these women and are calling them persons of interest.
So we don't have any information.
Y'all see how big, godly. Woo. I can almost guarantee you, I know what this fight on social media started over. And I can guarantee you, it had something to do with whatever they was either eating or didn't get a chance to eat. That's what the fight on social media started. I can almost guarantee you.
That they are armed. Again, there are two individuals that we think have information about this case, and we want to talk to them, and they should call Crime Stoppers.
According to the mayor, the arrest of Banks and Palmer makes a loud statement to the community.
If anyone in our community has decided to resolve a dispute using a gun, you're going to lose.
Leon Lane lost his granddaughter Malaysia in the Whitfield Street shooting, but he harbors no ill will toward the defendants.
Well, I'm hurt because my family is hurt. You know, I know things happen and people make rash decisions and things, like I said, but to be honest, can't see anybody deliberately trying to murder my granddaughter.
There was extra security at the hearing today. Many members of the defendant's family were in attendance. There was no trouble, only thoughts about Malaysia. Derek Thomas, RTV6.
There were 6 deputies posted inside the courtroom and many more posted in the corridor. And again, no incidents.
I mean, I see they're making an interview, trying to make a, what do you call it? What's the word? A point of emphasis that there was no incidents, but whatever. Here's the last video, guys. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here.
And another call from the Indianapolis community to stop the violence. This time, a gathering for prayer in front of the home where a 1-year-old girl was shot and killed just days ago. 24-hour News 8's Eric Feldman was there and has this message from the community, Eric.
That's right, Brennan. It's the second time this week that there's been a vigil and a time for prayer outside the home where young Malaysia Robson lived. And with someone so young, so innocent, whose life was taken from gun violence, it's having a growing number of people saying enough.
Let us pray.
Another solemn day in Indianapolis. Reminders remain. Windows shot out where 44 bullets pierced a home on the 3500 block of North Whitfield.
Okay, did you guys hear that part? You hear how many bullets pierced the home? That's why I said it wasn't 21. It was like 40 something. Listen again.
Reminders remain. Windows shot out where 44 bullets pierced a home on the
44. I was going to say 21 didn't sound correct. 44, that sounds a little bit closer to correct.
Saying, another solemn day in Indianapolis. Reminders remain. Windows shot out where 44 bullets pierced a home on the 3500 block of North Whitfield and took the life of 1-year-old Malaysia Robson Thursday morning.
And this one here is one that has broken so many hearts.
After gathering for prayers on Thursday, the 10-Point Coalition came together again.
God, we pray for this family.
Yes.
Along with members of the community.
Shield us. Keep us day and night, for we don't know what's next.
Prayer for the family of Malaysia and a plea for the violence to stop as her memorial continues to grow.
Senseless.
Just a day ago, 3 people killed in 3 separate shootings in Indianapolis, all in broad daylight. Sabrina Ivy knew one of the victims.
Tristan, he was a good guy.
She and her boyfriend came to Malaysia's vigil to show her family support.
Sitting up in your house, minding your own business. People just shooting for no reason at all, just crazy.
Calls continue for whoever is responsible to turn him or herself in.
We know somebody out here knows what happened. Let this family get some closure.
This community will stick by the Robson family.